The FIFA World Cup is already the biggest football tournament on Earth, but in 2026, it becomes even bigger. So why did FIFA decide to expand it to 48 teams? And what does that really mean for the future of football? And somewhere in the middle of all that chaos, a tiny island nation of barely 500,000 people just held mighty Spain to a draw. If that sounds confusing, you are not alone. So let's slow down and answer the question millions of fans are typing into Google right now. Why does the World Cup suddenly have 48 teams? This summer, the United States, Mexico, and Canada are sharing hosting duties for the very first time, and FIFA has used the moment to completely reshape the tournament. 16 host cities, 104 matches, a brand new knockout round that didn't exist just 4 years ago. It's a lot to take in if you're new to football, so today we're breaking down exactly why this happened, where the idea came from, and what it actually means for the game you're watching. To understand 2026, you have to go back almost a century. The very first World Cup in 1930 had just 13 teams, played in a single host country, Uruguay. By 1934, that number grew to 16. For decades, 16 was the standard. Then, in 1982, FIFA expanded to 24 teams, opening the door to more nations from Africa and Asia. In 1998, it grew again to 32, the format most fans grew up watching for almost a quarter of a century. So why jump all the way to 48 now? The push came from FIFA president Gianni Infantino, who argued that football's growth around the world had outpaced the old format. Nations across Africa, Asia, and the Caribbean had been investing heavily in youth development for years, yet the same handful of countries kept taking up most of the World Cup slots. In 2017, FIFA's council voted to expand the tournament, and the three-way North American hosting bid gave them the infrastructure to actually pull it off. Here's how it works on the pitch. Instead of 8 groups of 4 teams, there are now 12 groups of 4. After the group stage, the top 2 teams from each group automatically advance, just like before. But here's the new twist. The 8 best third-place teams also sneak through, filling out a brand new round of 32 that never existed in previous tournaments. That single change is why the total number of matches jumped from 64 games in 2022 to 104 games this year. Interesting facts. A few numbers really put this into perspective. This is now the longest World Cup ever, stretching across roughly 39 days. It's also the most geographically spread tournament in history, with matches played from Vancouver all the way down to Mexico City. And the expansion has created genuine fairy tale moments. Cabo Verde, an island nation in the Atlantic with a population smaller than a single mid-sized city, has reached the World Cup for the first time ever, and they are already turning heads on the world stage. Why it matters? This expansion isn't just about adding more games for the sake of it. For smaller footballing nations, qualifying for a 48-team World Cup is genuinely achievable in a way it never was before, and that changes everything. Federations invest more in youth academies. Sponsors take new markets seriously. Kids in places that never saw themselves represented on this stage suddenly have a real reason to dream. Of course, critics worry about diluted quality and tired players grinding through more matches than ever. But for the global growth of the sport, this format is opening doors that stayed shut for nearly 100 years. Conclusion. So the next time you're watching a match and wondering why there are teams you've genuinely never heard of competing on the same stage as Brazil or Argentina, now you know. 48 teams, 3 host nations, 1 historic experiment in how big the world's game can really get. If this helped the World Cup finally make sense, hit that like button and subscribe for more breakdowns like this one. And if you're confused about how the new round of 32 actually works, that's exactly what we're covering in the next video, so stick around.